What are you doing, mate?
You've seen the size of the bloody bugs round here. What do you think I'm doing?
That'll work.
Yeah, that's it. That'll work. I'll keep them off. Hi guys, and welcome to Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. So today what we're going to be covering is silica mats. Do they work? Do they not work? I'm trying one out for the first time, so you'll see that used. I'm going to brew in the woods, and we're using a system that me and Mac have been using for donkey's years now. We've used this when we've been out on jobs, we've used it when we've been hiking, camping and all sorts. It's a great system. It means you're carrying a hammock, okay? Hammock's all you need to carry. If you've got a couple of trees, brilliant, but if there's no trees, you find yourself in an open environment, or the trees are too far apart, go for the hog shelter, okay? We nicknamed this the hog shelter years ago, quite simply because hogs are an interesting animal. They're intelligent, they're clever. You'll very rarely see them if they don't want to be seen. One thing hogs don't get done, they don't get eaten by bugs. Hence we always called it the hog shelter. Guys, watch for more, see what you think. Mickey out. Welcome to Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. So, Mick and Mac here, we're up the woods today. I'm up here with the Hampshire Hog Hunters. We're going to be showing you our little tips and trips, hammocks, and some methods and ideas that we use, which are a bit alternate with the hammock. But again, first rule. What is the first rule of being in the woods? I'll ask you all. Get the brews on. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the bush box to make a brew today, and I'm also trying out a piece of kit that I've got because I've never used one before. I got myself a silica mat, and the idea being try this out with the bush box, and is it a viable option so that if I'm camping somewhere where there is a risk on the forest floor, instead of having to dig it all out, I can unroll the mat, put the mat down, use my bush box on it. So this is either going to be a win or a fail, okay? You're going to ride this ride out with me. We'll see how it goes. So the bush box, again, it was a cheap Amazon bush box. Okay, this I've now had for a year. I've beasted it, I've used it, I've abused it. It's still going strong. I can't fault it. Okay, simple little bush box. It's done me very, very well. I'm more than happy. And again, it's a simple setup. You probably wouldn't need silica mat with this, but we'll play it by. And again, as I've seen a couple of people's videos using the same setup, and they're trying to figure out how to get the grill to stay on the top. They're concerned it's going to fall off. Guys, these aren't handles. All right, you're never going to pick up a hot bush box, are you? It folds down and goes in the bag. So they're not handles. They're actually designed, quite simply, to locate your mesh. Okay, holds it in place, it's not going to fall off. Right, so we're going to set this up simplest way possible. Got myself some twigs. It is damp up here, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of an advantage. We're going to go with our cotton wool balls and Vaseline. Going to whack that in there. Got a little bit of birch bark in there, that's going to help as well. Slap that in there. Just take my ferro rod. There we go. That's away. Lovely. So, because the wood's quite damp, breaking this tinder down, quite small. Forcing it in. Remember the old adage, fire likes chaos. It doesn't need to be perfect, especially when you're getting into a small confined environment like this. And the nice thing about the bush box is the heat's directed. So the heat's directed up. Little bits and pieces on that. And that'll allow that to build a bit of heat, create some embers. Put the grill on. You can see there's a lot of steam, there's a lot of moisture in that wood. It's very damp up here. Some larger sticks. That's it, let's get the brew on. Yeah, good bit of kit. I'll tell you what, it does mask as well. It does mask, not brilliantly, but it does mask. So,
like you say, over a hat.
Yeah, that's Mac trying his mozzie net out. So it takes a little bit of the shine off. So if you were stalking or
check the ball bag.
That's all right. We're all adults and grown-ups.
Oh, that'll be handy, mate.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling we're going to need that in Devon. See, we'll get one or two things down there. We're either going to be swimming in the river trying to keep cool, or we're going to get eaten alive.
Such a good cooker, these, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. And again, they're cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap and cheerful. You know, it's...
I suppose you could pay a lot more money and have a name on the side.
You could. You could. There's some of them out there, 70, 80 quid. And it's exactly the same thing. It's probably even made in the same factory.
Yep.
In China, shipped over, flash name put on it.
I think we spoke about that before with these Chinese things, mate.
Yeah.
You've got to realise it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's trade.
Well, that's it. I mean, the video I did last week where I kept saying the word cheap, Gaz picked me up on it when I got home. She said, do you know, you kept saying cheap like it was something bad. I said, no, I didn't mean it as in something bad. I just mean it as in, it's cheap. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, but it's going to do the job. Okay, and that's, it's.
The thing is, if you were a retailer in the UK buying kit from China, that's the prices you pay, Mitch.
Yep.
And that's the prices you pay for your top of the range gear, no matter what it is, clothing. They're all made out there. Tents, especially if you look at tents.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Just because it doesn't have a flash brand on it, don't write it off. I mean, obviously, as I said the other day, there is some of it is pants. Okay, yeah, but that's the risk you take. I'd rather pay £2 for something that's pants than spend 70, 80 quid on something that's equally pants.
But if it's built well,
yeah,
which that is, there's no problems with it, is there?
No.
It does the job. It's having a name or having anything else on it doesn't make it any better.
No, that's it. It's having a brand name on it doesn't mean diddly squat. You know it as well as I do. We were saying the other day, you look at Issue kit, right? Issue smocks, Issue trousers. They weren't branded, right? They did the job. Yeah. Bergen's rucksacks.
Yeah.
And you get a company will go out and buy a Berghaus military issue Bergen or an Osprey or something like that,
exactly
stick their name on it, bung another 50 quid on it. It's, you know.
Bung a couple £100.
Yeah. Yeah. And for something that packs down into
just the right weight, isn't it?
That.
Just the right size. You can do anything you want. Cook a big meal in that if you wanted to.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
Put a wok on top of that or anything.
Yeah, only downside on them, especially if it's a dry environment, it burns quick, but it's, keep loading it up, keep feeding it, it'll do the job. Right.
Like you say, there's one of these in it, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to stick one of them in there in a minute once we've done that. There's a tip for you guys. So if you're somewhere and you can't get your kindling, you can't get your wood and that, you're in a city, these fire logs that you can buy, which are basically compressed sawdust, okay, and resin. Get yourself some of these, okay, break them down, and a small ball like that will burn quite readily. Boil your water on it. It's light, it's easy to carry, it's a great backup. It's the sort of thing I'll be taking down to Devon with us onto the moors, because the place we're going to, they don't want us taking wild wood. So I'll be taking a couple of these as a backup, and that way, if we need it, we can get a brew on, we can make a brew. And it's just simple thought. Easy, light, something to carry, it'll back you up. A downside with the fire logs, because there's a lot of resin in it, it is a dirty burn. So it does tend to soot things up. No, don't worry about that too much. Won't be long now. So I'm actually going to take the shield out from underneath. I want the ashes and that to drop through on the silicone. I want to see what the effect is. Here, my head is saying the silicone's going to melt. It's a plastic, it's going to melt. Right? Part of my head's also saying it's going to catch fire.
It's going to stink.
And it's going to stink. Hence I've got spare water, because if it does, I'm just going to put it out and bin it. But we don't try these things. We don't know. And I'm not prepared to say something's good without trying it myself.
No, I've never used one myself. Good idea, so if it does work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
good.
That happened, yeah. It doesn't melt. Quite impressed with this. Let's move that over there for a second. Right, so I've not used the ash pan. I've got smouldering wood and embers all on that. I'm just going to tip that right into the fire pit. Let's have a look, see what it's done.
Good, Jesus.
So the heat's transferred. Heat has transferred.
Done the job. Oh.
Yeah, but it's not gone brittle. Nothing's actually gone through it.
Just keep trying it, mate. It's done the first one, isn't it?
Sure, I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were out somewhere on a surface, peat or something like that,
Yeah.
I mean, that's bloody warm.
Yeah.
And the heat's transferred. Yes, it has. I mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
that's transferred through, but it will catch the embers. That's the thing. Yeah.
Impressive.
I am impressed with that. Right guys, so as you can see, basic hammock setup, okay? So we've got our hammock slung between two trees, we've checked for debris, there's no sign of any debris, nothing's going to drop on us, nothing's going to hurt us, and it's a simple hammock setup. Now, it's a quick hammock setup, we've not actually gone to any real effort with this one, which shows. Just a few minutes, you can bodge something together, it's going to keep the rain off. Ideally, we'd have this a bit more taut, so if we weren't just doing this as a demo of a standard hammock, we'd have put a bit more effort into it. So there's your hammock. It's off the ground. It's superb. Okay, it's a light piece of kit to carry. You've got the mosquito net, keeps the mosquitoes and the bugs off, keeps you off the ground, keeps you away from the wet. That with a poncho, it's a comfortable night. Not everybody, I'll admit, is a hammock fan. Okay, yeah, your body is a little bit arched in it, but I tell you what, if you've travelled far enough, long enough, and you've had a long enough day, that is one of the most comfortable things you'll curl up in. It's wonderful. So there we go, simple hammock setup. The next setup you're going to see is something that me and Mac use quite regularly, and we've used it on jobs in the past. Okay, sometimes you're in an environment where there's a lot of insects, sometimes you're in an environment where you've got to be low key, sometimes you can't find trees to put something up. Okay, now there are many alternatives, there's many methods you can go to, but carrying this one piece of kit is going to save you from getting eaten alive. So the next one you'll see will be our alternative hammock setup, and this works with all hammock types. Okay, so guys, so that was a basic hammock setup. As you've seen that, hammock setups are standard. Okay, the only difference is how you're going to position your top. So this is the scenario I will give you. We're going to use these two trees, and my hammock straps aren't long enough. I can't reach it. So unfortunately, this is going to have to be my camp for the night, where I'm staying, or alternatively, it could be a field. If it was a field, I would then use my trekking poles or whatever I could find and forage as a way of lifting my tarp up, but that would be a separate setup. So anyhow, so what we'll do, we'll take the hammock down, but before we take the hammock down, because we're going onto the ground, you've got to think to yourself, the hammock base is quite thin. Okay, so that's why I was carrying my poncho. I love my poncho. It's a piece of kit I carry with me everywhere. Okay, it's my waterproofs, it's a shelter system, it's a water collection system, it's many things to many people. So let's take the poncho out, and I'm going to use that as a ground sheet. Okay, now I've already checked the ground, made sure there's nothing down there that is going to pierce, damage, or otherwise cause a problem to both my poncho or my hammock. And if there was going to be something down there, like you were not sure about the terrain, take your roll mat out, put your roll mat underneath. Okay, so grab a couple of the pegs. And as you can already see, I'm producing a nice low level shelter. Now we can improve on that again. That's what I'm wrong. Yeah, so what we can do now is peg out the back of the front of our hammock. We can now peg out our wires on this wire frame hammock. And if you don't have a wire frame hammock, don't panic. You can still use exactly the same system with the jungle hammock, but what you'd use on the jungle hammock, use walking poles or some sticks to raise up your mosquito netting, or you could run it out to a couple of trees. and this makes an ultra low level shelter system. Okay. Okay, so I've got my sleep mat in there, put my sleeping bag in there, my bivvy bag in there, zip myself back in. Once you've zipped yourself back in and you've got the tension back onto the netting, you're laughing. There'll be no mosquitoes getting to me in there, nothing eating me, and again I can now set the tarp out. Voila! So as we say, nice relatively low level shelter and proof of the pudding. Obviously you will never get into your hammock with your boots on. Okie doke. I've got room enough in here. I can sleep full length, lay down, roll over. Yes, if I lift my arms up and go touch the netting, but you're going to do that in any hammock, any setup. Okay, but nothing can eat me. I'm getting a relatively pleasant breeze through here. I've got my tarp up, it's keeping me rain off. Yeah, I'm sheltered, and I've got enough room towards the back of the tarp to stash and hide my kit. And that is how your hammock can help you set up out here in the woods. Okay, if you're in an environment, take a hammock, take a hammock with a built-in net, and if you're in an environment where you can't set up in the trees, go to the ground. I'm on my sleep mat, I'm comfortable, I'm in a sealed system, I'm in a safe environment away from all the bugs and creepy crawlies. And I could lower the tarp even further. I could bring that tarp down to within a couple of inches of the roof of that if I wanted to go for an ultra stealthy, ultra light, ultra hidden camp.
I just think it's a brilliant setup. The main thing being that no other fucking thing.
And again, if you're that worried about the wet and the cold, you should always have a bivvy bag with you.
Always.
Okay, always. This is a lifesaver and it's a game changer. Okay, bivvy bag, summer weight sleeping bag. If it gets that cold, you get into these two, it will save your bacon. We've been through that experience, haven't we?
Yeah, I've been in winter in that setup, mate. Absolutely perfect. The bivvy bag should be coming every time anyway.
Every time.
Even
every
if you're just
time.
lying on it.
Yeah. Even if you're not going to use it, have it there. You never know what the weather's going to throw at you, okay? And yeah, we talk about wild camping, we talk about bushcraft and that. Prepping, okay? Now, okay, I'm not talking about having thousands of rounds of ammunition. I'm not talking about having a bunker you can live in. Simple prepping. Something that should be at the bottom of your kit at all times is your bivvy bag, okay? Even if you're not doing an overnighter, take a bivvy bag. Things go wrong, you can climb into this and it will keep the worst of the environment off of you, okay? It's light, it's simple, yes, it's a little bit of weight, but it's one of the few things, as Mac will agree with me, and Mac loves to travel light, it's one of the few pieces of weight that is really essential and you should always have with you.
Yeah, it's part of the travel light, don't freeze at night.
Yeah, yeah, it's a piece of equipment to have with you. And again, summer weight sleeping bag, okay, you get that with the compression sack, it folds down to that, there's no weight to it. That combined with the bivvy bag, rolled out in there, tonight I would be sweating, okay, way too much for me, okay, but the simple thing is, if the weather turned to poo, which it can do this time of year, suddenly the wind gets up, temperature drops, I've got the gear, I can adapt to the gear, adapt to the environment. The other nice thing is, I'd roll my sleeping bag out, even if I wasn't intending to use it, I'd roll it out, put it in my bivvy, use that as a bed, okay, even more comfort, lovely. Have a nice comfortable night's kit, it's nothing like it. And if it got bad in the night, I can drop into it, simple as. So now, hope you like the hammock idea, okay? And this is just one of many variations. We're going to do the jungle hammock in a minute. We'll set that up, show you how that works. Bit of an alternative, and see what you think of that. This is Mickey out. So once again, happy days. Same technique as before. Take the hammock, take the carabiners at each end that would be the tie-off point for your hammock, peg those out, okay? And then all we did with this one was we put our roll mat in it, that helps to spread the base, and then run the elastics for the netting up round the trees and back. But you could also use walking poles for that. You could use whatever you could find. So if you were out in the field, it wouldn't be an issue to set up. We'll actually, when we get down to Devon, we might even demonstrate that down there. And then a couple of spreader bars, okay? The spreader bars aren't essential, but however, by putting them in, just makes a bigger open space, gives you plenty of airflow, makes it comfortable, keeps the bugs off, and again, that's a hammock being used as a tent shelter, a bug shelter, okay? Now, both me and Mac have seen quite regularly, you can buy on the internet bug tents, okay, which is basically a mosquito net inner from a tent, okay. Some of these are retailing for more than a tent with a fly. Well, somebody's selling you half a tent basically in my book, but hey, this is our idea, this is what we do, this has worked for us on jobs, this has worked for us out camping for fun, this is something we've done quite regularly and works well. It's an easy setup, but again, as I've said before, I'm just carrying a hammock. In a perfect scenario, we set up in the trees, we swing comfortably, we have a great night. You move on to the next spot, there's no way you can do that. Go to the ground with your hammock. You don't need to carry a tent as well. Your top's giving you shelter. You can vary that. You can see I wanted a bit more headroom here, a stick. Just adapt it, adapt it, adapt it, adapt it. Anyhow, this has been hammocks, okay? An alternative view.
You got a mate?
Yeah, I've got a little bird sitting there. There's a black, little robin, is it? Robin? Yeah. Got a little robin come to join us. He's been hopping around. As soon as we've disturbed the undergrowth, he's like, yeah, come on lads, there's a bit of scoff, I'll have that. So, always nice to have around your site with you. And he's just sat there watching. He's like, will you clear off and let me get to all the grubs? We'll give this ground a good kicking over for him before we go.
I think he's impressed with the setup.
Yeah, he's impressed with the setup. He's actually looking at it, and what's that? What's that little robin?
Yeah, can I nest in there?
Yeah, he wants to know if we'd leave it here for a couple of days. Anyway, Mac, we've been up the woods. We've had a great day. We've had a nice cup of coffee, a bit of a decompression for us. Future things coming up soon. Devon, right? We will be down on Dartmoor. Okay, a bit of wild camping down there. That should make an interesting video for you, hopefully. Please like, subscribe, share, do all that funky stuff. Send us a comment if you like it, you didn't like it. Let me know either way. I'm not going to be offended, okay? But please like and subscribe. Really appreciate that. That helps us with our morale. It helps us keep moving forward. Guys, have a great day wherever you are. In fact, have a fantastic week. Come and join us Sunday night, 2000 hours, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Come and meet the Hampshire Hog Hunters. We have a lovely Sunday evening. In fact, last Sunday it was great fun, wasn't it? It was everybody was laughing for hours. Yeah, come along, join us, and have a fantastic time wherever you are. Guys, love those you do. Forgive those you don't. And as always, peace and light be upon you all. This has been both Mick and Mac.
Bye bye.
Catch you later, guys. Mickey out.